Ladies and gentlemen, oh yeah, today was a good day. It's Tuesday, July 16th. Wow, it's only Tuesday. Oh, how cool, we have the whole week ahead of us. Tuesday, July 16th, 2013. This is Day 9 Daily, number 608, where we learn to be a better gamer. In today's daily, we're going to take an in-depth analysis to looks like a 23-minute game between First and Reign from WCS Korea, round of 16. Really amazing game, and we're going to do a deep dive on it. Like a deep down, mega deep dive, and I'm super excited about it. So excited about the PvP that I wore my Zerg shirt. We haven't had Terran dailies in a little while, just because I'm waiting for the Hellbat nerf replays to actually kick in. Because it's kind of hard to be like, let's analyze TVP. Now this guy's building Hellbats, which are totally broken in this iteration. So you can't use the strategy. But isn't it interesting in retrospect? Like, I want to be something a little bit juicier than that. And speaking of juicy, I'm really thrilled at how hard this form's looking. All the games are really dynamic and interesting and sweet. There's a very scary period in the probably like maybe 300-400s when Wings of Liberty was just stale, man. Everyone was doing the same things. Maps were solved. Wasn't much to say on the daily. And I was like, I was looking at increasingly more obscure shows. Stopped having a lot of unique things to say, but fortunately, there is such a wealth of things to say now. Feeling great. I just wanted to remind everyone that one of the subscriber awards coming up, it says July 15th. It's happening within the next several days because, as you'll note, Eric says, a bit late. They're going out a day or two late. But if you're a subscriber on Day 9 TV, you will be receiving a free gift code to get 30% off of any purchase of at least $30 from Jinx. Cool. Because if you subscribe for $5 a month, I will try to give to you things that are worth more than $5 a month in a very literal way. Because it's awfully nice of you to do that. But seriously, use those discounts to buy my shirt. Oh God, that's oh wow, that was really nicely done. Yeah, no, but it's for any Jinx clothing product. You can get whatever you want. I actually put some of my favorite things in here. Yeah, we got Zerg Carapace hoodie. Yeah, got some of that good old ghost style stuffs. Aperture Science tees. Totally want one of those. Anyways, we have a game to be doing. And, oops. Didn't actually have the time up. Our little cover up. But that's okay. I already said it was a 23-minute game. Let's talk about Fun Day Monday. Submit to me a game. Low Econ, where you must expand only and exactly on every 10-minute mark. So you're going to be low Econ. You're going to be stuck on one base for 10 minutes. You're going to be stuck on base for another 10 minutes. So you're going to have to do the damage. You're going to have to do all the hurt-bringing, pain-pounding, face-smacking. Let's talk about PvP. We're going to watch through the opening very slowly. In fact, pretty much all the remainder of Part 1 will be that. And also, did you hear the chair? I don't know if you can hear the creaking, but don't worry, creaky chairs are going to be coming back. As we look through this opening, there's a huge variety of things that we need to worry about. In fact, if we just look at the Protoss tech tree, we can clearly see what all the things are. I will be polite and I will ignore the forge. But of course, there's the early warp gate pressure that can come up right away. But the big thing is that Stargates can instantly produce oracles, which can be a huge killing blow immediately. I'm talking about the kill moves. I mean, certainly you can go expand Robo, but I mean, if you go fast warp gate, you can just kill your opponent immediately. If you go for fast Oracle, it's a straight kill play. Robo Facility tends to be the most passive, the most defensive of them all. But of course, Twilight Council for Dark Shrine, Twilight Council for Blink. There's a whole bunch of things to worry about. So there's sort of a odd look to PvP early game. Or at least there has been until players like First and Reign have been coming along. And here's the traditional look. You are either trying as hard as you can to kill your opponent early on, or you are building as much defense to try not to die early on. And I hopped on the ladder and I've just been laddering Protoss for the last week because I had this game last week and wanted to just test this theory. Indeed, out of the like 22 Protoss games I played, one of them was a long one. All the other ones were won or lost in the early game. And that was it. I actually played defensively in all 22 of the games, did no attacking, just robo standard defense. People just love to try to kill you immediately. And as a result, we see the hyper defensiveness, like these robo plays, the early expand robo, hell, even blink defense plays. We see all of these dictating the mindset for Protosses for the whole game, where Protosses don't want to do any bold expanding. They don't want to do any light unit counts. They want to build up as much as possible at all points in time because it feels so fragile in the matchup. And a lot of this, of course, boils down to the warp gate mechanic. When I get to your base, I can warp in your base, right at the front door, and win with relative ease. Or more specifically, defender's advantage is virtually gone. And did I have everything on? Wow, I'm like really amazing. So what we're going to see out of first is an opening that is very bold. It's going to be a Dark Templar Rush opening. But in particular, it's going to be the scouting of first that's really going to blow our minds. Let's go back to the original colors. So again, Protoss early game dictated by these forms of aggression. And we're going to see how first combats against those. Now, the first round of aggression that we didn't even talk about was proxy gates here, proxy gating here to wall in the opponent is very popular, and occasionally proxy gating here. Rain generally does not do that. SOS, absolutely capable of doing that, so that's certainly one thing that we need to worry about, but scouting too soon is always going to be a bad choice, so we're going to be talking a lot about scouting at the right time. So just right after he builds his gateways, checking there. Alright, cool. Now, you will see that first did not scout down here. What does that claim? There's this, again, amazing book by David Serlin called Playing to Win that I actually... Yeah, I can go get it. Come on. Come on. Okay, yeah, this book. And yes, my pants are still torn apart. I'm going to get new ones. Great book. Unbelievably good book. Let me hold it up a little longer. By David Serlin, Playing to Win. Really awesome. In there, he writes that when you're playing a competitive game against someone else, that you are essentially each providing an argument, saying, here is the strategy that I am going to use. And each play you make are, facets to that argument. So in a sense, with this scout that we see from first, we would then say, what is he arguing with that move? Well, simply put, he's arguing, I need to check to make sure there's a proxy here, but if there's a proxy here, I can hold it off. That is the claim that this probe makes by going back so early. And in fact, distance proxy gates are, it's kind of weird to hold off, but it's still straightforward enough. So first things first. Checks, again, for those proxies. And this is kind of a weird scout timing. The first one that checked just on top makes sense to us. And then we get the double gas coming up. Also makes sense to us. This is the more common play in PvP. Hell, we can see Reigns doing the same thing. We'll go into that in a little bit. But pylon number 2, we see first, he's going to be hiding it down here. Now, I already want you to appreciate some of the brilliance that you are seeing right now out of first. This is quite clever. I already told you that first was going to be doing a Dark Templar rush, and he's going to be hiding his Dark Shrine. Alright, cool, everything makes sense, nice. However, if we're going to be hiding this pylon, then we may as well try to see if we can line up our proxy gate defense with that hidden pylon. So he doesn't scout all the way extensively down here, because in just a moment he needs to send a probe down there anyways. Nice. So he minimized the amount of time probes would be off mining while still maximizing how safe he would be. First. Now one thing I will note, what a lot of players are doing is just building this core on 18. You don't quite have enough minerals to do that. we'll actually see that right when the gateway finishes, right here, if you are building this probe, you don't quite have enough. So most players, especially non-Korean players, are building it on 17, but the Koreans tend to wait until around 18 to build this bad boy. So, okay, cool. Very active probe movement at the start. I think the 3-minute mark is a safe spot to pause and say, why the hell has First only begun scouting now? But why? I want you to think, why scout now? Because we scout for reasons. We don't just send out a scout and be like, all right, Captain, I can see everything. It's like, okay, well, that's not useful. We need to scout for something, and we want to get it at critical timings. So one thing that I'll just throw out there, we're going to watch from now up until the 5-minute mark pretty quickly. Let's go to the everyone cam. In fact, I'll go to Rain's base just to demonstrate this. We see that this mothership core, and actually First Stalker I think is the best thing to note. I'm going to show you First scout timing by showing you First Stalker production timing. When does he begin that Stalker? Well, by God, he's going to begin it right when that gateway finishes, and he's going to chrono boost it. Therefore, we can see that the absolute earliest a Stalker can pop out is around 4:05 to 4:15. That is as early as it can come out. So, of course, if we're sending out a scout, in this circumstance, we send it out after we build the cybernetics core, then we know that there's not going to be any ranged unit that can possibly kill off this probe. So, of course, what is First looking for? He's trying to get a sense of how much chrono boost is left here. Does he see chrono boost on the warp gate or no? Well, we don't see anything yet, and we only see, wow, 1 chrono boost remaining on this nexus. Probably not going to be a 4-gate push. Okay, what else can we conclude? Well, here's more evidence that it's not going to be a 4-gate push. We can click on this gas and see it's been mining a lot. We can click on this gas, see it's been mining a lot. This has had 3 in each geyser for a long time. And of course, late Stalker, fast mothership core, all the goody goodness. I think most sexily of all of this scout timing, looks around and he leaves long before 4:15 when a Stalker could possibly be out. Very long before. Really cool scout timings. We're going to use that information that we gleaned from this scout in just a minute. Coming up is the most complicated early game analysis that we're going to be doing from First. How the hell he can stay alive during this period. Let me pull back to 320 because we talked about that probe scout timing. All these timings are just amazing. We're going to go to X2 just so we can see what's going on when that cybernetics core is done. One thing I will also note at this point in time, one of the most important things, this probe saw no zealot. I mean, obviously it's impossible to get the zealot if you're getting this second gateway up this early and you're putting 3 in each geyser. But at this point in the game, First is going, cool, I don't see any zealot attack, so I don't need to worry that much. Here comes some incredible corner cutting. Right away, just chrono boosts out a single Stalker to deny some probe scouting, and immediately builds the Twilight Council. Literally 0 mothership core. Rain, of course, equally good as First. Gets his scout timing in there ASAP. There's the warp gate research en route. We're going to kind of ignore a little bit that Rain is seeing, oh my god, no mothership core, oh my god, where's the extra pylons? I mean, Rain is definitely going to be suspicious right now. But that is not... we don't want to do what poker players call leveling yourself, which is to way overthink something and trick yourself into doing something stupid. We're going to use timings, but we're not going to try to rely heavily on what Rain is thinking. It's just what Rain physically can be doing as the Protoss player. We saw the mothership core get started and cancelled. Going to ignore that. First, this probe moves to the top side. There's still a a possibility of some air units moving in. Also, this probe is going to be used for proxying, so we may as well just have him doing something useful. But this other probe still remains hidden. It's real easy to say, oh, well, why not pull this dude back into the main base and, you know, because it's still pretty close to our base, because it's really easy to accidentally swing by a probe and reveal your tech. And boom, there it is. I want you to note how insanely bold this movement is right now from first. This is frickin' ballsy, man. Or is it? First Stalker is here. At home, nothing. In fact, if units moved in, we only have one pylon powering this sucker. So how is this safe? How in the hell is this safe? Well, let's use our wonderful tool known as timings, coming to this 4-minute mark. What did we learn earlier? We learned that first, the absolute earliest that he can get his first Stalker out, or just in general, the absolute earliest that a Protoss player will be getting this Stalker out, is going to be between 4:05 and 4:15. Nowadays, because players are getting slightly later cybernetic scores, it's really fixed at 4:15. Okay, Stalkers take 42 seconds. Okay, so that means that with a chrono boost, that's 30 seconds. The earliest 2 Stalkers can pop out of these 2 suckers is 4:45. So in other words, we're actually going to see Rain move out pretty aggressively. But at this point in time, we know that he can't have 2 Stalkers out. He can't have 2 Stalkers out. Only now could he have 2 Stalkers out, and that's if he chrono boosted. Oh, God. So here we start to see some really sophisticated movement. A lot of very rapid maneuvers happen. First pylon goes down here at the right side. It goes down very early, much earlier than the Dark Shrine being finished. But he needs to get a scout out. He needs to see what's coming up. And again, I will say why this timing. Because really aggressive warp gate pressure will be starting to build pylons at your front right about now, right at about 5:15. So this probe is designed to sneak past any aggression. Again, if Rain is trying to move out for an attack, his units will be about here. So maybe a few of them over here. So this probe is designed to sneak around. He's just trying to get in here and see what's up. Now, broadly speaking, I'm going into a lot of detail and a lot of complexity in this, but I actually feel obligated to make the simple statement. First is trying to get DTs really fast. And if he gets the DTs up, immediately all early attacks just get shut down. All of them just no problem. Oh, what, you're trying to come into my base with like 4 warp gates worth of stuff? Well, I send 1 DT to you, 1 DT to my base, and then boom, I'm done. Cool. So everything that we are seeing out of first is just aggressive scouting to make sure, am I staying alive? Am I staying alive? Are we good? Is everything cool? Is everything all right? Are we good? Okay, all right. Just again and again and again and again. Stalker actually chills out at the front of this base. Zealot kind of being conservatively placed back a little bit. Mothership Core only just now coming out. And at this point, wow, we really haven't been seeing anything. We've seen no movement. And again, most importantly of all, this scout guy, remember him? He was trying to sneak around any aggression. Well, this Stalker didn't see any aggression. He moved up here, and then he moved out here, and now he's been cutting back. He hasn't seen anything. And this guy saw a Stalker. Alright, cool. What's my opponent doing? Something involving one of these buildings. Stargate, Robo Facility, or Twilight Council. He's not going for Warp Gate. We've eliminated that. Now, okay, cool. This is where the intensity is peaked. What the hell can my opponent be doing? First, moves the Stalker back just in case of there being any Stargate. And you say, well, what if it comes from the south? Well, great. We have this spotting from the south, as well as this Zealot spotting from the south. Look at this very particular placement from first. See, it covers almost the entire vision range. This seems like an awkward spot to place it. You might want to do it here, but cool, we're covered from air. And now we have this mothership core moving in. Checking, is there anything going on? I got my, my Dark Shrine coming up. Oh, there's a proxy pylon. He's probably not doing anything aggressive. But here's the part that blew my mind. Here's the part that I found really clever. Let's start to actually make some conclusions. Rain did a very smart thing. He scoured the corners of the map because he knew something was up. We're not going to go into too much reasoning as to why. And he sees it. Most importantly, first sees that Rain sees it. In fact, if we go to the first cam, here's what First is looking at right now. Here's his screen. He sees the damn thing going on. Now, to conclude part 1, we are literally only going to get to the 6-minute mark. To conclude part 1, we've done 2 basic bits of scouting as First. 1, he is not going for this really aggressive warp gate push. He is going for one of these 3. And 2, upon this being scouted, what is Rain almost inevitably going to do? Play defensive. So we see First, wait a little bit, and watch this answer. First sends a probe out to the natural. He cancels the Dark Shrine, and he expands with 1 gate and a late warp gate. Now, to show you the effect of this, Rain, who we saw going for a Twilight Council play. I'll actually pull back so we can see what Rain's build order has been. Alright, he's getting Blink, he's chrono boosting it. He's getting ready to do a 3rd gate, so it looks like he's going to be going Blink plus 3 gate, a very aggressive build, a very aggressive kill sequence play. Oh my gosh, the Dark Shrine. It's actually going to be done before this Blink is even done. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, as a simple answer, we now know how to deal with blinking players if we're First. So look what Rain does. Robo moves out to try to do all the spotting he can. I mean, most players won't be as good as Rain will be with the scouting. But still, pulls back. Cancels Blink. Gets the fast Robo facility. Gets 3 sentries up, so that way he can force field the front. And here's the chrono boosted warp gate. Or excuse me, the chrono boosted observer. I mean, this is just an amazing answer by First. Rain is doing what every Protoss player would do, hole up and play defense. And in the meantime, Rain has his expansion earlier. He's, fleshing out his tech. He's even in probes. So, with that in mind, we are going to do the swiftest recap of the early game of all time. Ready, set, go! First begins by doing a quick scout in his main base right after he builds his gateway. Why is that? Just to make sure that he's not losing to any proxy gate in his main. He wants to check for other proxies, but he's already planned on going Dark Templar, so after he builds his assimilators, he moves down to the south side. Also checking for proxies along the way. When the Cybernetics core goes down, we see that First is going to use this as an opportunity to scout his opponent's main. This is hitting before Stalkers, and will also allow him to leave once he sees what's up. At this point in time, First says, hey, no Zealot. That means I'm pretty safe early on. Well, better make sure that with my limited resources I can check out everything that's up, so I'm going to chrono boost a Stalker of my own. Popping in the base, he's starting to go, probably not going to be up against a really aggressive warp gate player. Probably not going to be some sort of 3 or 4 warp gate. First Stalker is going to begin clearing out vision. Probe chills here. Stalker moves out. Single Zealot being produced because it doesn't require any gas and because, well, we just need this for the defense. This Stalker moves out to the front. It has seen no probes whatsoever. Well, even if there is a push coming up, we better try to get a scout in to get around the push, and oh my gosh, a defensive Stalker. Well, it looks like my opponent is definitely planning to do something defensive-minded, like a Stargate, like a Robo, or like Blink. Let me scout for the Stargate on this right side. This Zealot and these buildings provide a full arc of vision in case he is going to swing into my main base with an Oracle. And then when he sees that I'm going for Dark Shrine, well great, I know that my opponent is going to respond really violently in answer, so I will cancel the Dark Shrine, start my expand, and I am now ahead because psychologically Rain has to prepare for the Dark Templar. Oh my god, what an awesome series of action in the first 6 minutes. When we come back in part 2, we're going to see what happens in the mid-game.